Where can you find a young, handsome black man who, in the spirit of Booker T. Washington, can not only renovate and build his own school, but can then go and mentor and train other young men to go and do likewise? And how is it that a young black man could possibly do all of that without the government's help? Well, I'll tell you where you can find him. You can find him right here in Albany, Georgia. Who am I talking about? Brother King Randall, the founder of the X School for Boys. He is a remarkable young man, and recently he has caused quite a stir. This brother didn't go off, he went off, okay? And rightfully so. King Randall is out here doing the work, and he is putting a lot of men, twice his senior, to shame. So today, we're going to examine what exactly has gotten Brother King Randall so perturbed. And then we're going to demonstrate, or we're going to examine that not only is he perturbed, but he's actually going to demonstrate what you do when you get to the point where you can't take it anymore. We're also going to discuss how the Afrostocracy, no matter how hard they try, cannot stop the work and progress that King Randall is making. So go ahead, grab your favorite beverage, because we're going to discuss all of that and more on the Standard of Truth podcast. I want to talk about King Randall. So y'all are probably like, who is King Randall? I don't even know who that is. I'm glad you asked, because this is an amazing young man, you guys. So he is 23 years old. He is the founder of the X School for Boys in my home state of Georgia. He's right down in Albany, Georgia, and he's doing the work. He is not one of these political grifters out here that are just talking a good talk about what they want to do and what we need to be doing. He's like, nope, I'm just going to close my mouth and get it done. He started when he was 19 years old. Matter of fact, I'm going to let him tell exactly what he does. And then I'm going to share the tweet. Actually, no, let's do that first. Let me do that first. All right. So let's do it like this. Yeah, that's good. Can y'all see that good? Y'all can see that okay? King Randall, told you a little bit about him. He's 23. Okay. Like, he is a baby, but he's out here doing grown man things. So he started out when he was 19, just mentoring young men, teaching them everything, how to work on cars, do the construction, tile, wood floors, plumbing, electrical work, like you name it. He was teaching these young men how to do it. And he put this tweet out that says, "These are the ages of children that were shot in away from my hometown at a gas station." He goes, boy 5, boy 12, girl 13, boy 13, boy 14, boy 15, boy 15, boy 17. Y'all, that's a lot of babies gone. Okay? Um, Due to gun violence, these are the children an hour away from him at a gas station that were gunned down. Then he says, folks gonna sit here and act like mentorship is gonna change this? Absolutely not. If you are as a man to system, you're smoking something. Speaking at schools, podcasts, etc., will never ever do anything serious. Be serious. Our communities are hot trash because of pretend fake work. And so he was in rare form this day, because I was just like, oh, he's upset. And I was like, well, what somebody did to him, right? So I ended up seeing him on Jason Whitlock's show. And he caught the attention of Jason Whitlock. Yes, I saw that, Sammy. Governor Kemp is trying to get him funding and approval for his charter school. The school's already in operation. So this young man started a school, and he can tell his story better than I can. So let me do that part. Let me get that up. Add this video. Give me a second. Here we go. All right.
Sure. All boys boarding school and all completely free. We don't charge the parents and the students. They live with us 24 hours, 7 days a week. We have 9 boys that we have at this particular moment, but I've been boarding children for the past 4 or 5 years. I started at my home, and sometimes, just like what I was talking about in that tweet, I get tired of the excuses that weak men make in our communities about why we can't do anything. I was 19 years old. I had 7 juvenile offenders in my living room, and I was even taking care of my own child at the time, and I funded them by fixing cars, cutting hair, painting people's houses, doing anything. I became the neighborhood handyman to pay for field trips, to feed them in the evenings, and feed my own child. And I didn't have a job, but I made sure that I was taking care of these students and these children every single day. I had one child out of every child that I've ever worked with for the past 5 years go back to jail. And the only reason he went back to jail was because I literally had to go on a trip, and he went right back to his home environment, and he had to go to jail because of something that he did, being in the wrong environment. And it's so tough nowadays, and it's hard because moms make it extremely tough for me to do my job, because so many of them, oh, well, my baby this and my baby that. You'll call me and say, can you come talk to my son? No, I don't want to talk to your son. Can you bring him to book club consistently? Can you bring him to Bible study? Can you bring him to the workshops we're doing? I have an automotive repair workshop teaching kids how to work on a car. Well, he didn't feel like coming today. Well, who's the parent here? Like, it's so much stuff that's going on, and I've just began to be beyond frustrated. I'm tired of being politically correct. I'm tired of trying to say things nice, and for weak men in our communities, it's absolutely ridiculous. We got guys out here thinking they're doing something, and they're mentoring, and they talking to a kid once a week and think they're doing something. I'm like, absolutely not. Half of y'all don't even have no children. I'm like, you're not married and don't have no children. Why exactly can't you go find 1 or 2 boys to go pick up every day from school, take them home, get them something to eat? Why can't you go find a family to feed? Why can't you really go do some real work? Because all this pretend fake working, we're trying to do this and we're trying to do that. No, you're starting nonprofits, and what you're doing is you're getting all these grants, and the communities are failing, and since they are failing, you continue getting these grants. Our organization.
Okay, you guys, I wanted to stop it, not because he's speaking that he talking that talk, right? And I loved it. I just wanted to engage with a little bit about what he said to bring y'all up to speed. So he was talking about his school, with no government funding. He started this school, and his frustration is with people who are talking the talk, but they don't want to do the work. And then he also had some sharp criticism for the mamas, because mind you, his school, the children don't pay anything to attend the school. And I think that is phenomenal, because young boys eat a lot. I got 2 of them, okay? So they eat out of house and home. So it takes some bread. It takes some cheddar to feed these boys. But more important than that, everyone wants to, they're like, can you come, when he said, can you come talk to my son? He's like, no, can you bring him here? Like, I like the fact that he was like, I'm a resource and I am here and I'm all in. I need you all in too. So I need you to make sure he's here for Bible study, make sure he's here for book club. I don't want the excuse of he didn't feel like coming. So I get, and I love how he said that he spoke about something y'all don't like when I say it, but it's true. How single moms can't raise these boys to be men, because they need a man to hold them accountable, to be that that bulwark. Like, no, you need structure. They don't need the feelings. They say once he 12, like, you ain't gonna be able to do much with him if you don't have a solid man steering him, shaping him, and molding him to be a man. You end up with just a bunch of effeminized young men that turn into somebody's effeminate husband, all in his feelings all the time. And actually, Randall's going to talk a little bit about it. Let me let him continue.
Hasn't got 1 grant, We don't get any government funding. The communities that you serve, they benefit you if they're in turmoil. They benefit the school systems for being in turmoil. They benefit the churches. They benefit the other nonprofits because they give them money because the system has the cities in turmoil. You get paid for it. So literally, they don't want to see anything better. That's why the pastors around here tell me I need to be quiet and stop doing stuff. And the pastors want to bring me to these back room meetings, and commissioners and everybody want to tell me to be quiet because I go say these things. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of the excuses. We making weak boys. We got them all in their feelings all the time and what they feel like doing. And nobody cares about your feelings. It's war out here in the real world. It's complete war. We don't have the time to be worried about, oh, my feelings this and my feelings that. We don't have time for that. I got a son. My son, he needs things. He needs food. They need clothes. Both of my sons need all of these things. They don't have time to be worried about my feelings. I have to get up and make it happen. Whether I'm happy, sad, angry, mad, or glad, I have to get up every day and do everything with the same vigor that I would do it if I was happy. I get up at 4:30 every morning. I go to the gym. I go get my students squared away. I go get my kids squared away. I put everybody in school. I make everything happen. I do after school. I do Bible study. I go to bed at 8:30. I do this every single day, nonstop. Why can't other men do these same things? I eliminate all those excuses because of my age, and that's why older men do not like when I start saying stuff, because it makes them look stupid and useless because they give too many excuses about the things they should have been doing for a long time. They should have been doing this stuff. Our community should have been changed, and we still out here blaming the white man and still blaming the system. It is 2023. If I could do it and board children for free and I'm not charging parents nothing. I pay for them to eat. I pay for their haircuts. I pay for field trips. I put gas in my truck, my staff vehicles. I make sure my staff has everything they need. I make sure the kids have everything they need. Why can't we do this all around our communities and stop making freaking excuses? There are no more excuses anymore. I'm tired of it. Sure. I have an all boys are failing. And
stop it. I love it. I absolutely they are failing. Love it. If you don't stop talking, I see it. I love it. Okay. Sorry, y'all. So that was the first clip that I wanted to engage with, because normally, if you're familiar with King Randall and you've seen him in interviews, he is, first of all, I met this young man and I met a small segment of his boys 2 years ago in Washington, D.C. Went to D.C. to the White House, and I got an opportunity to see these boys in action. And when I tell you, I was so impressed. First of all, you know the vibe that you get. So you know the vibe that you get when you're around like a gang, like a literal gang, like Bloods or Crips or something like that, and they're all unified, and you just like, that's a force to be reckoned with. I got the opposite. I got a vibe from them, but it was like the inverse of that. These boys were focused. They were determined. They were poised. They were all dressed alike. It was just beautiful to see young men like this. I had never seen anything like it, and at the time I had no idea. I knew someone who used to be affiliated with the ex school for boys, who's now here in Atlanta, but I didn't know that King Randall, as young as he was, so if this is 2023, he's 23 now, and this was 2 years ago, like he was a baby. And I was just very impressed with him. So I've actually had a chance to meet him. I'm actually going to have him on the show, and I think that's going to be an amazing treat. But you know what I noticed? So King Randall said something about, this is why all these pastors around here want to have these backroom meetings and they want me to be quiet, because I'm about to make an inflammatory statement, but I'm going to say it because that's what I do. You get more love and sympathy if you come out as a homosexual than you do when you come out as a conservative that's about your business and you're trying to just make things happen and you're getting results. Like, that is the truth. Because these pastors and politicians and community organizers, they would have had nothing to say if he was out here wearing a dress, talking about he's living his truth and, he's about to get his surgery. Like, if he had come out the closet and celebrated sodomy, like, he would be getting all of the love, all of the media attention. Like, he would be celebrated as a hero. But notice, he doesn't. Now I'm gonna play another clip where he's just like, first of all, I'm not a Republican. He is a conservative, but he doesn't necessarily identify with any political party. And because of that, he can't be controlled, and they don't like that. They don't like having their ill motives and their lack of results exposed by a 23-year-old. So he's an actual threat to them, and I'm here for it. I love it. So you saw the tweet. The rant that he just did on Jason Whitlock's show was a result because everybody was trying to figure out what is going on. He's normally very poised in an interview. He's normally very calm and collected, but this time he was given a little different energy because this world is wicked, things are happening, and he's like, if you want to see results, you can't sit back and wait for the government to do it. Like you gonna have to roll up your sleeves and get dirty, which most of us are just unwilling to do. So I want to show you another clip to show you his poised and he's more calm and collected. But this other clip is not about him. This other clip I'm about to show you is to expose the Afrostocracy that I talk about. And this one particular puppeteer, member of the Afrostocracy is going to be Roland Martin. I don't particularly care for him outside of praying for his salvation and praying that he comes to the knowledge of the one true God of the Bible. um that is the extent. But I don't like what he represents and what he has said and how he treated this young man on his show. So let me go ahead and share that. Give me one quick second, and it's going to demonstrate about the politicians, the pundits, the professors, the preachers, and the performers, how they are the gatekeepers and how they have to keep this narrative going to make you think that you the victim and it's the white supremacist system. He can't even, matter of fact, let me just share because I'm getting upset. Let me just share it first. Let me get that pulled up. There we go.
Explain.
Hold on. Here we go. Give me a second. I hate when this happens. I'm trying to do the app. There we go. Okay, I want to be little. I want to be little. I want to be little, not them.
Why in the world? You're conservative, correct?
Yes, sir.
So
Can
please
y'all hear
explain
that?
to me.
Can y'all hear that when it was playing? Can y'all just leave me a 1 if y'all heard it? I'm gonna play it again.
Why this bill? Why Republicans are pushing forth a voter suppression bill when last year we saw record turnout in Georgia, record turnout. So they want to restrict voting when you just had record turnout in Georgia.
Well, let me start off by saying you had me mistaken. I'm not a Republican. I do consider myself conservative.
No. Actually, I didn't say Republican. I said you're conservative.
Okay.
I said you're conservative.
Absolutely.
That's what I said.
Right. Yeah, I'll that because you called me a Republican on Twitter. However, with this particular bill, I don't consider voting my particular fight. I do consider voting a asset to us and maybe something we can use as a tactic to help. But as far as us pushing voting all the way out, like voting is going to be some systemic change for the Black community, to me is not the way to go. If you look at the human anatomy of the body has as many different parts. And I do respect you guys' fight, in regards to voting, but I don't consider myself fighting for the right to vote that much. Because
do you not vote?
We hadn't got anything.
Do you not vote?
Government. Yes, sir. I vote. Absolutely.
Okay, so when you say you guys' fight, first of all, there are multiple fights, there are multiple issues we can be concerned about. Voting is one of those issues. Are you not concerned that Republicans in your state are trying to restrict access to the ballot for no reason other than they are pushing the lie that Donald Trump also pushed?
Okay, I want to pause that for a second because one, Roland Martin is a flat out liar. He is such a liar, and I can't stand people who lie. You're your father, the devil. Georgia passed, we did not pass a voter suppression law. That law is the complete opposite. And that rhetoric right there has cost us the All-Star game. What Georgia passed, we expanded voting, making it more easier for you to vote, but harder to cheat. But notice the verbiage, they keep calling it the voter suppression law. We did not take away anyone's right to vote. In fact, we have more days to vote than many states, right? Early voting was expanded, and they took away the excuses for absentee ballots for just any old reason. There's no reason for that. You can, with as many days as our state has to vote, I think we have like either 15 or 17 days during the election period to cast your vote. You can vote early or you can vote on the day of election. What our state did was we actually attempted, and I don't think we did further enough. We should have threw out them darn machines, but that's another story. What we attempted to do was to ensure that everyone had an opportunity to vote, but that your vote would be counted one time, right? And that the voting would be more fair and organized. It wasn't to suppress anyone's vote. Stacey Abrams kept pushing that lie, and now you see this little pulpit pimpeteer. I'm doing ad hominems. I'm sorry. I apologize. He's lying. I just wanted to make that clear. That is not what Georgia passed, but he just keeps saying it, and he says it to the deaf, dumb, and blind people that actually listen to him, and people believed that because they don't do their research and they don't know how to turn off CNN and BET and whatever channel he's on. All they do is live in this one little victim echo chamber. He's part of the Afrostocracy. His job is to lie to you and to make you think that there's some boogeyman out there that's preventing you and just from doing what you want to do and keeping you from being great. And that's not true. And the other thing I wanted to note, do you notice all the hostility in this man's voice and in his face? He is so threatened by this young man who is calm and cool and collected and respectful. He keeps calling him sir. Do you not vote? And he's so I ain't gonna do the ad hominem attacks. I ain't gonna do it, y'all. Y'all pray for me because I'm having a moment. But I wanted to stop and pause it just so y'all can see all of the feminine energy coming from Roland Martin. On top of the fact that you can tell he feels threatened by this young man because this young man is about to rip him a new one, and all he can do is keep his needle stuck on stupid. All right, let's go ahead and play it. Hopefully, I can make it bigger again. Okay. It didn't want to be bigger again. There it goes.
Right. Absolutely. I understand exactly what you're saying. However, again, that's not my fight. I believe.
No. I have a question. Ask your question. And the question is this here. Do you believe Republicans in your state are wrong to be pushing this voter suppression bill?
Can you give me the list of things that's all on the bill? Because I know you said the voter ID.
Well, no, here's a perfect example. This particular bill right here gets rid of no excuse absentee balloting. Republicans in Georgia passed no excuse absentee balloting 15 years ago, thinking it was going to help them. They're angry because you had people who voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and also John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock won. So they're changing the law because they're angry they lost at the ballot box. But
no, he's lying again. That wasn't it. That wasn't it. Now, it might be true that they initially passed that. But what you also have to understand is that I really don't want to get into a conversation about election integrity, but we needed to have a conversation about Georgia's election integrity because there were issues there. And it was way too easy to cheat. We needed election integrity and we needed to reform that system. That was done. I don't believe it was done enough. It wasn't done to my satisfactory, but it was enough. And I think just absentee ballots and all these mail-in ballots, it's a problem. It is a problem, and it made it very easy to cheat. Now, I think there's problems on both sides of this discussion. But the point I'm trying to make is, why are you trying to bait this young man into a conversation about voter suppression when no one is trying to suppress anybody's vote? You such trash, Roland Martin, for treating this the way you did. And this is not a recent clip. I just been storing all of this up and I needed to just get it out now. This is actually very old, but since I wanted to talk about King Randall's recent tweet, I thought, and I've been talking about the Afrostocracy, I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and just bring this out so y'all can see exactly what I've been talking about, how the pundits, right, that P of the Afrostocracy, how what they do on purpose because they're being used as a tool. They're being used as a tool to keep the narrative going. So let's continue.
For 14 years, it was fine until last year. Is that, again, do you consider that to be egregious on the part of Georgia Republicans? Why would they change the law? Because they lost. How about making a better argument for the voters?
I agree with you. I do. I agree with you. I'm not against you there. I definitely think that is an issue that I believe you guys could fight. But that, again, voting is not my issue to fight. I believe.
So what's your issue to fight?
My issue, I fight for young black men before they die. And that's what I do.
Oh, y'all heard that right. So that was shade. When he was saying, I fight for young black men before they die, poking fun at the fact that the Afrostocracy only cares about young black men when they're dead at the hands of police. That was brilliant, King. I saw that. You did it with a straight face, and I was here for it. Because Roland, he don't care about young black men. He ain't stepping foot in none of these hood communities, and he sure ain't taking 9 black boys to go live with him and his preacher wife. That's just not going to happen. I just had to stop it there because that was a cute little mic drop. I love that. All right, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not gonna stop. Keep stopping it. I'm gonna continue. I promise.
I do in my organization. I do teach them to vote, but I don't tell them that voting is going to be the be all end all.
No one says the be all the end all, but it's a part of it.
But you guys promote voting like it's just going to change like the systemic outlook of the black community. That's not where it's at. We have to get out and go do for self in our own communities.
So define do for self.
When I say do for self, you shared one of my tweets, my videos, and I was actually a big fan of yours, but you shared one of my tweets when I said black people need to stop begging the government and go and do for self out in our communities. You shared the video and called me an idiot. I didn't.
So he called King Randall an idiot because he actually was encouraging black people to do the very thing Booker T. Washington and Frederick Douglass advocated for, which is do for self. Stop being out here whining and crying, begging. Look into the government. I have a T-shirt that says the government is not God. And I'm actually going to talk to my homeboy because I have a Facebook friend of mine that actually came out with that shirt. I bought it from him. He's not selling them anymore. I'm going to come out with that shirt. The government is not God. And King Randall was trying to demonstrate to old smart boy over here that you keep looking to the government to be like, we need a program. We need something systematically to help us because we just can't, like, I can't stand all that whining. I'm with the 23-year-old who's like, I'm out here teaching these young men, ain't nobody going to give it to you. You got to go out here and work for it. He is teaching these young men a healthy doctrine of work, right? The same thing my husband teaches my boys. Like, you know, we getting up and you about to do this and I'm going to teach you how to do that and you're going to run this. Like, they need to be doing something. How is that bad? How do you have vitriol and hatred toward a young man who's actually saying, the government not gonna save you. You need to just go out here and do for self. Like, he can't even wrap his mind around such a concept. So he's like, well, what do you mean when you say do for self? He literally doesn't even know. And so King Randall gets ready to explain what that means to him. Take a listen.
I didn't see anything idiotic about that statement at all.
So when you say do for self, like what? Explain that.
Okay, for example, here in Albany, Georgia, we complain about our school systems a lot. Many of our young men can't read. They have very horrible literacy rates. We don't have any rehab programs here for juvenile offenders. What I decided to do, I started a program 2 years ago, decided to do for self, and I started taking children into my home. I started taking custody of kids from juvenile court, and I started molding them and training them and teaching them skilled trades, etc. Now I'm 21 years old. I just purchased a school here in Albany, Georgia, to combat us being in the government-funded schools that are not teaching our children what they need to learn. So that's what I mean by do for self, simply getting up and going out and do it.
So
I beat the stereotype that I'm young, black in America, and I can't do anything because somebody's holding me down. Absolutely not.
So a question.
Teenagers went and go ahead. Me and some teenagers went and bought a school, and we just bought a school bus simply from going out and doing work. We decided to go fix our own communities. I'm not expecting anything from no politician. I'm not expecting nothing from Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or nobody. We're gonna go do it for ourselves, and that's what I believe we need to be doing. I can vote, sure, but nothing's gonna change in our community.
So you went to the juvenile court system. Is that not government?
Absolutely.
So when you say purchased a school, and this school is going to be what? Private school, charter school? What kind of school is it going to be?
No, it will be independently owned. This will not be funded by.
See, the way Roland is talking, he's talking like this young man couldn't do it, as if it was going to be impossible for him to do without the government. So what kind of school is it going to be? Private school, charter school? You know, he can't wrap his mind around the basic concept of find a way or make a way. He cannot. Probably, I don't know the man personally. I just know when you're part of the Afrostocracy, you have no concept of building something with the fruit of your own hands without having to be at the expense or on the backs of or on the victimization of your own people. Because that entire platform is on. He's not talking any sort of positive rhetoric or any conversations that is going to help benefit the Black community in any way, because he's a tool. He is a pawn in the grand scheme of the Afrostocracy. He gatekeeps. He's boule, right? All he does is look the part and make you think that what you want to achieve, it's out of your reach. So you got to get it from a government-funded school, and we need to change the legislation. Listen, we come, and I say we, my people, I don't know about y'all, you speak for my people. We come from a stock that in the face of real adversity, when like Jim Crow was a real thing and you knew don't go on that side of town because you might not come back, own land, growing our own food, building our own communities with just common sense. Some of us were illiterate past the outside of a third grade education. That was all that we could do. But we accomplished more with less. Our families were intact. We had a healthy reverence and respect for God, our creator, and we were doing better. But then you have people like Roland Martin, who's literally trying to tear this young man down by making him think. Mind you, when this was recorded, he just bought the school and they hadn't enrolled any students yet. He has students enrolled now, and each year they add on a grade. So until the school gets up to grade 12. He's putting in the work, and he's making you look like the chump that you are, and I'm here for all of it. Let's continue.
Government.
No, that's why I asked you. So it's going to be a private school?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a boarding school.
A boarding school. And then for the folks to be able to afford to send their kids to the boarding school, what kind of mechanisms are they using in Georgia? Their own funds? Are they using school vouchers? What are they using?
I can't hear you. Say that again for me.
I said, what mechanism are they using to send their kids there to pay for the school? Their own money, or are they utilizing vouchers from the Georgia government?
Absolutely. So for our school, we're financed completely by donors. We have many donors that have given yearly endowments to our school that will be able to pay for these students to come to our school for free. Many people believe in our mission, and we're making sure that young Black men, where we live, where we don't have any rehab programs for juvenile offenders to even get out of jail and stay out of jail. We have people that believe in our mission that are trying to send children to the Extra Boys for free. We have many people that are trying to send kids to this boarding school to be able to take care of themselves. That's what I mean by doing for self. We got to simply get up and do it.
So you don't believe that government policymakers play any role whatsoever in being able to impact the lives of black boys and others in Georgia?
If we take them out of that government system, we don't have to worry about that. I keep saying,
how is that? So no, hold on. So here's the question. Hold up. Here's the question. Mm-hmm. How do you remove someone out of a government system when we all live in government systems?
Okay, being literal, absolutely.
He just sounds so stupid. I told y'all he can't even. Either he really believes the stuff that he's saying. I can't tell if Roland really believes what he's saying and that he lacks the emotional or the intellectual fortitude to be able to, like, oh, do for self, small government get out my way so I could just build and do and thrive. I don't know if he believes that you really can't do it, or if he's literally just spouting this rhetoric because he's paid to do so. I don't know which one it is. I don't know if he's really just this ignorant and he has a one-track mind and he can't fathom the concept of doing what King Randall is doing, or if he knows it's possible, knows it can be done, but can't say it, so he has to be the control opposition on purpose and do ideological subversion. I don't know. Either way, it is bad. And don't tell me that people like him really think that Black Lives Matter. I don't believe you. And there's nothing you can tell me to convince me that these people actually care about Black people, because the words that were coming out of King Randall's mouth, it makes no sense that someone could be vehemently. It wasn't just, oh, I disagree or I see another path to doing it. This man vehemently disagreed with everything King Randall said. And not one time did he attempt to have a meaningful dialogue to engage with the argument. He just kept moving the goalposts. So how are you going to take them out the government system when they're in the government system? Like, the idea that King Randall's school is free, can't wrap his mind around that because, well, somebody must be, maybe because all you know is being pimped out like a prostitute by the government. Rolling. Maybe that's why you just can't see how it could accomplish it anyway. Maybe everything you've accomplished is because you had to, do something for it in exchange for money. You have to sell your soul. But there are many of us out here in this world who we just work hard, right? We put God first. We work hard. We don't allow the victim mentality to captivate us and cripple us to where we literally sit and be like, if the government don't give me a grant, then how am I going to do it? Like, King Randall's like, okay, literally, yes, I have to go to the county and get a business license and I got to get a county inspection. And that's engaging in government in a commerce sense. But what King Randall is saying is that I don't depend on the government to accomplish these things. I put government in its rightful place, right? I support policies that actually, unlike, I thought about doing a story about this, the difference between red states and blue states. You have a leftist, Kevin O'Leary, who's like, I don't do business in New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, or California anymore because it is too hard to do business. There's too much government overreach, too much bureaucracy, there's too much red tape, too much regulation, right? People who actually are entrepreneurs and want to build something, they purposely, if they can try to help it, avoid blue states because it's just too hard to do business. The licensing and the fees and the paperwork for this and the filing for that. And it's all done just to pad the pockets of the politician, right? See, but this here in Georgia. Now, from my understanding, Roland's in Texas, which is, it might be purplish, but it's relatively red. He should understand these things. But because he's just a puppet for the government, or should I say the DNC, we just gonna say he don't know no better. That's what we're gonna say. But I felt everything King Randall was saying because that's how my husband thinks. That's how we're just. it's a mindset. It's a mindset that I saw someone in the live chat say it. When you get off that plantation and you literally divorce or you shed the vestiges of the African American indoctrination and you pick up Black Americanism, it changes your worldview. Now, I'm not saying you're a Christian first, but in this country, the cultural distinctive that defines you, I would say you need to shed African Americanism and embrace Black Americanism. And in my previous segment, I explained what that is. That is the African American subculture of failure, which is I can't do anything unless the government says that I can, or unless the government gives it, or unless the government sanctions it, versus Black Americans are like, oh, you gonna put a roadblock in my way? Okay, well, we're just going to ground that blow rock. We're going to within the confines of the government, but we're going to do what we got to do because no one monkey's going to stop this show. That's a Black Americans thing. The African American is too busy feeling victimized and trying to make the government comply to its demands versus competing on the basis of your own efforts and contributing something valuable in the marketplace to where they can't say no to you because they need what you have or they want what you have because you're creating value. Let's let King Randall finish. He's almost done here.
Absolutely, we all live in a government system. Absolutely. However, you can do things to remove most government from your life.
How?
As far as trying to get yourself out of food stamps,
How?
trying to get yourself off of welfare. You got to go work. You got to get jobs. You got to get out here and go.
This man actually said, how? How you gonna get off of food stamps? How? Like, he knows how, but he wants y'all to think that it's no way how. So that's why he's like, well, how? Every question or every emphatic statement that King Randall made, notice how Roland's response was, how? How? His goal is to cast doubt, to make you think that you can't, to make you think that, oh, hard work doesn't win. And staying in school, getting a basic education, getting married, having, just how? Like, how do we do all of this? How was it done in Reconstruction and post-slavery? The same way. They just did it. Oh, I'm mad, y'all. I'm sorry. Oh, he just made me so mad.
Go and do it.
So hold up. So hold up. So I'm just curious. So if somebody doesn't have a job, are they not applying to government for unemployment benefits or insurance?
Absolutely.
So how can that person remove themselves out of government when that's what government provides?
Absolutely. Well, my thing is trying to make sure you're not allowing the government to finance your whole entire life. As long as you're giving somebody the right to feed you, you're giving them the right to starve you as well. People are living their whole lives off the government systems. It was the day the government decide, well, we're going to cut food stamps, we're going to cut this and cut that. What we going to do? We have people out here living off those systems. So I believe in teaching our people how to go survive without the government. That's my biggest thing.
But again, though, you keep saying, I'm trying to understand. You keep saying how to survive without the government. You act as if a young Black boy who comes into your program will not interface with government in any way. They will interface with government still driving down the street.
He never said that, dumb, and you know that is not what he meant. So now the more you talk, the more you make yourself look foolish and ignorant, because everybody knows that when we say, everybody knows you're going to have to interface with government on some level, whether that's a driver's license or requesting your social security card or going to register to vote or to register a vehicle, to purchase real estate, to record a deed. Like, we know this, Roland. What we're saying, government dependence. We're not saying isolation from government completely. We're talking about government dependence and looking for the government to solve your problems, not to provide, having the proper healthy role, respect of government, which is to restrain the evildoer, to keep law and order and things like that. No, you're arguing something that is not even worth having a discussion over. And I'm so sorry, King Randall, that you had to subject yourself to this foolishness, because this man, I do not believe that he's that ignorant that he does not know what you mean. I really believe, as a part of the Afrostocracy, his job is to cast doubt, to stoke division, and to make you think, to gaslight you so bad that you start to second guess your reality and think that, you know what, maybe he's right. Maybe I can't do this without the government's help. Maybe I should apply for that grant and let the government kind of come in a little. Like, that's what he wants. He wants your plans to fail so that it can look like the other communities where all his other Afrostocracy friends are in charge of, i.e., New York, California, Philly, Detroit, Chicago, Baltimore, St. Louis. That's what he wants. He literally wants for you to, he's gaslighting you to make you question your reality so that you can allow the government politician, right? That aspect of the Afrostocracy, that you can relinquish your power and control to them so that they can do what they do best, which is destroy communities and destroy cities, and don't build them up and just pocket the money in their own personal coffers. But let's see, we got about a minute left. Let me let them finish.
They will interface with government trying to get a driver's license. They will interface with government trying to get a voter ID. They will interface with government trying to apply for financial aid to go to college. So they're going to interface with government in many ways. The point I'm saying is, doesn't it make sense that black folks should be engaged in a political process to where we are impacting policy that also impacts us? Or are you saying that doesn't matter at all?
I only believe that we should breed politicians in our community that we raise ourselves. People that are funded by white Democrats, white Republicans alike. If you were funded by anybody white, I don't believe you have the best interest of our community at all. I don't care who you are. Whether you be Raphael Warnock, John Ossoff, Kelly Loeffler, or what's his name? The other guy that was running. I don't care who you are. You don't have the best interest of the black community at heart, because we are not funding their campaigns fully. I believe that we have to raise our own politicians, which is what we're trying to do in our program. We are going to put them in government. Some of them want to go run for positions, but we know we bred them in our communities.
But what? Hold on. See, not
nothing. White Democrats that came and gave us and spent millions of dollars on all these ads and got folks all riled up about these guys for you to come keep black people remain a Democrat Party and the Republican Party side chick. They only come to the black community when they want our vote to get off and then disappear. We don't never see them again.
But here's the thing
anything.
So, King, explain why in the world you're conservative, correct?
Hold on, I played it again. So y'all heard that, right? He refused to engage with King Randall's argument in any meaningful way. All he knows how to do is move the goalposts. He doesn't have an argument. He cannot defend his positions. All he knows how to do is be a stool pigeon for his Democratic overlords. And that's my purpose of introducing you guys. Well, Delano Squires, who guess who I had on my show a few weeks ago, introduced us to the term Afrostocracy. And I've been stuck on it ever since. And I've been dedicated and committed to, every time I see the Afrostocracy system at work, I want to expose it. I want to help you to identify it. And that was Exhibit A right there. He was doing his job. He was trying to keep you on the plantation to where you don't think for yourself, where your creativity is stifled. You are perpetually feeling like a victim, where your hope and your spirit is broken. God is not on your purview, but rather the government. It's the new religion. The pastors are involved doing it. That's why they let Stacey Abrams and Kamala Harris come to their churches and stomp and celebrate the murder of babies in the womb. They all are in on it. The NAACP and all of these organizations and nonprofits. Because think about it. If the schools actually got better and improved, and if the communities actually got better and improved, all of these nonprofits, these ambulance chasers, they'd be, what what would Al Sharpton's job be if, you know, cops just if black people just didn't get gunned down as much, right? Like, and they don't really get shot like that by white cops that often. The way they tell it is happening every day. We're just being mowed down in the streets. But what would his job be, right? If our communities were in order, if more of our women and men were finding themselves in bona fide committed relationships, marrying first and then bringing forth children and actually raising them in the fear and admonition of the Lord. Like, what would his job be? Like, what would he do? Right? Like, what would the squad, right? The Corey Bushes and the Presley girl. What's her name? The little bald one. I forget her first name. What would they have to complain? Right? Well, one, they wouldn't be if our community, if we actually just decided, I am going to be the change I want to see and actually actively work to educate my community on the importance of being pro-life, how we're beyond the rate of replacement. And so, as a Christian sharing the gospel, like if we were just doing what would they have to do? What would they complain about? They have to keep it going because it's profitable for them. It's very, very profitable for them. So yes, when your identity is in Christ, you are aware that he is going to provide. And when you work, you're able to help other people build communities and be more productive. Thank you, Sybil. I agree. Okay, I'll check my email, Hollywood. No problem. I got you. The Afrostocracy is a great term, Vic. I love it. I made up how to spell it. I don't know if it's the O or the A, like if it's a long A, like Afrostocracy, or if it's the O. I don't know. I spelled it with an Afrosta. We made it up. Ask Delano. I think Delano made it up, but it's perfect. It is the perfect term to describe the undermining work of the ethnic gatekeepers, the ones who stoke division, push and sell victimhood, who love daddy government and do his bidding. Oh, they love it. They love it. Roland Martin was just so like, well, the government, like, we gotta vote. And listen, y'all know me. I love politics. I mean, I'm actively engaged in local politics here in my state. But I'm not looking to the government to improve my life in any meaningful way. I raise my children, I run my business, I obey the law, I live my life. Like I'm just because I recognize that while I want to participate in that process and I want to be found faithful, meaning I want to be on the side of history where it was like, yes, I fought for this and I wanted to make sure that this legislation, because if it passes, it's going to be good for me and good for my community and good for my children's future. Yes, I'm engaged in that level. But is the faith and hope? Nah, that's not gonna happen. So I hope that I've demonstrated that who's part of the Afrostocracy just in that one little short example. And I want to show you guys the rest of this King Randall clip when he was on Jason Whitlock's show. So let me show you.
I was 18 years old when a classmate of mine went to jail for 30 years for hiding a weapon that was used in a murder. Even though he wasn't there, he hadn't been in any trouble. But he got sentenced to 30 years, and I'm asking the judge, I'm just trying to advocate for him. I'm like, is there anything he could do, some type of program he can get into? And they're like, no. I'm just like, why don't we have any rehabilitation programs for juvenile offenders in our communities? And they were like, they do have rehab. They have a functional family therapy program where they meet for 3 months, once a week for an hour, and they're spending $8,000 per child on that idiotic program in our community. That's not helping any children. Be for real with me. I don't even use that much money for the students that I serve or whatever. So it's stupid to me. We didn't have any rehabilitation program, so I started my program. And that's when I discovered that children couldn't read. Almost 96% of the children that I'm working with that I was working with at the time at 19, they could not read a book. These kids are in high school, middle school, and different grades, and they cannot read and write. It is absolutely ridiculous. I wish I would want to show a video and without embarrassing the students and not showing their faces, but show how they write and show how they read. It is absolutely ridiculous. My son is 4 years old. He reads fluently. He reads better than the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th graders that I have coming in the classroom. He can write and everything. He's doing crossword puzzles, whatever, and he's 4 because I have him his own teacher, here at our school. But our students are being completely failed. And our school system where I live is spending so much more money than the average school in our state. And our kids are graduating and they can't read. Why are only 39% of the kids here graduating proficient in reading and writing? That is absolutely ridiculous. And the only reason that number is so high is because they keep sending kids home for no reason. I just got another kid got expelled. He's been written up 8 times during the year for stupid stuff like making noise in the classroom and talking. And he just got expelled for this last time because he was making noise and they got tired of it. Like, it's dumb stuff. They can't even deal with kids. It's just a lot that builds the passion, which is why I created a school, which is why I have to fund this myself. I do understand that I did a little bit and people saw what I was doing. Once they actually saw that I was serious about creating our own ecosystem, creating our own system, I wiped off from the media. I understand that because it doesn't benefit the system. So I know I'm going to have to make my own money again and fund what we're doing on a mass scale because I want to see big schools. I want our entire city, I want all boys coming to our school. And we want to create a girl sister program for girls to go to these schools and take these phones out their hands. Our kids, no cell phones. They don't look at TV. They don't get on their phones. We don't show them the news, none of that. They have strict systems every day. They get up at a certain time, they work out, they eat, they go put their uniforms on, they come to class, they do their class work, we do Bible study, we pray, you go eat again, we do our afternoon activity, you go to bed. Weekends, field trips, whatever. But we have stuff that we do strictly, and literally after the first month, and they went home for a break, their parents like, oh my God, my son is this whole new kid. Literally just routines. Routines build habits, habits build character, character makes the man.
I wanted to engage with what he said because some of y'all might know, a lot of y'all don't know, but I was born and raised in Bronx, New York. And so I was educated in the public school system. And in in the 9th grade, I was given the opportunity to apply to a boarding school, several boarding schools. Basically, I had one of the good ones. I had a math teacher who was like, I know, everybody here is going to their zone school, but have you ever considered boarding school? And, as a 14-year-old, my only experience with boarding schools was facts of life. Like I knew like Tootie and 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 I knew they lived at the school and I thought it was all fun and it was all girls. And so when she, put the idea in my mind, I started thinking, I said, well, I knew I dreaded graduating from middle school because I didn't want to go to my zone high school, right? I'm from the Bronx, so my zone high school would have been Stevenson High School, and it was nothing to write home to mama about. Like fights every day, and just violence. Um, I was terrified. Growing up in the hood and you learn how to defend yourself, like you just don't want to live your life perpetually on edge. And I always felt like I was like, if I have to go to this school, as much as I love to learn, I was like, I just don't believe that I'm going to actually be able to learn because I'm gonna have to be so focused on staying out of trouble and staying out of fight. Not because I'm a troublemaker, but when you're a nerd in school, like you get picked on. And no, people didn't pick on me for being a nerd, right? But I'm short. Like I was always little. I was always I was always smaller than all my other classmates. So the idea of going to this big public high school, and I'm like, I don't want those schools that I went to was a charter school. And it was in Spanish Harlem. And for my mom to get me in that school, she had to buck the system. This is why I'm such an advocate for school choice. When I tell you my mother had to buck the system and literally darn near steal my records from the district because they refused to release them because they wanted me to go to my zone school. And a lady at church had told her about this performing arts school in Harlem. And she was like, oh, you know, she would love it. It's smaller classes. You know, it's only 2 classes per grade. So it's 2 7th grade, 2 8th grade, 2 9th grade classes. And she was like, it's performing arts and they just don't let anybody in. You've got to audition. And I'm like, okay, I don't really got no talent, but I sang in the choir at church. So we'll figure it out. But I got into that school. So in the 9th grade, my math teacher at the time put the idea in my head to go to boarding. So I was like, okay, well, what I got to do? She was like, well, no, I will fill out your recommendations. I will prep you to take the SSAT, which is the secondary school aptitude test, not the SAT, the SSAT. She was like, I'll prep you for that. And then we'll fill out the applications. She was like, I will pay for your applications. I was like, okay, you know, and I'm doing all of this pretty much without my mother's knowledge because I didn't want to really broach that conversation yet. I wanted to see if, because I was like, if I don't get in, I don't want the disappoint. I'm already going to be disappointed and I don't want her to be disappointed. So I didn't even tell my mother that I was applying. All I told her was that I needed to go down to Trinity School in Manhattan in the Lower East. I think Trinity's on the Lower East Side, maybe 96th Street, somewhere like that. I don't know. But that's where the test was. And I took the test, scored well, sent my applications off to a couple of different boarding schools. And I got accepted to St. Catherine's in Richmond, Virginia. So when King Randall is talking about the rudimentary and the discipline of boarding school, I wasn't sent away because of behavior. That environment changed my life. And I don't believe that I would be the person that I am today had I not literally the way I handled off those kids' day, that was my school day. You woke up, you showered, got dressed, you ate breakfast, you went to chapel. After chapel, you do your classes, then you have lunch. After lunch, you have your afternoon classes. 3:30, school is dismissed. There was no, oh, after school, I'm just chilling doing nothing. I had no concept of doing nothing. My day was literally occupied until, so after school, you had to be involved in an extracurricular activity. Pick something, field hockey, lacrosse, dance, drama, art, play the violin. You was doing something. So from 3:30 to 6 o'clock, I'm busy. Mind you, did I mention homework? I ain't got the homework yet. 6:30 is dinner. You gotta, whatever your after school extracurricular activity was, you get to go back to your room, wash up for dinner because you could not come to dinner with athletic clothes on. You needed to look like a person and you needed to smell good or you would be dismissed. So you go to your dorm room, you shower, put on some presentable clothes, and your butt needed to be behind a chair sitting at a table by 6:30 for the blessing. 6:30 is the blessing. You get your food, you eat your food. You had, from whenever you finished dinner, you needed to get back to your dorm room and you had to be study hall. Study in your room across campus library. 7 to 9 o'clock, I am doing homework, studying. From 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, you can blow off some steam, call your mama, tell her you alive, tell her to send you some food and some popcorn and some money. 10 o'clock, it's lights out. You're in bed. And that's if you got your homework done. The workload was intense. When I got there, did I feel I could compete? Absolutely not. I was behind. I had to play catch up. But it came this day, the way my life is structured, it's hard to undo that the discipline that I learned at boarding school. There was no cell phones back then. Your life was just academics, little bit of church life, academics, and in the weekends. The only day I had for myself was Saturday, and I still had to even plan my Saturday because I'm like, okay, I got a paper due, I got this due, I got a library, I got to go to the mall, I got to do this. Like, I learned to just grow up. These boys are learning valuable life skills that are going to carry them for the rest of their lives. So this is one reason why I'm such a proponent of charter schools and school choice, but more importantly, especially young men. The school I went to was all female, was all girls. So I'm not going to say there wasn't the distraction of boys, or should I say I found the distraction. It wasn't in the school. I found it in the city limits, but that's a different story. There's a show for another day. But one thing I did not have was a distraction academically. I was just immersed in school, like all day, and it was just I only went home Thanksgiving. You have that Wednesday, you Thanksgiving Day, Black Friday. You're back in school that next Monday. Christmas break may have been 2-3 weeks. Then you got spring break. Then you got summer. Then you do it all over again. And that was my life. And so I wholly support what King Randall is doing because it works. I literally had to get out of the government public school system because I would have been a different person. I would have never gotten to meet all of the wonderful people that I met at St. Catherine's, and I got out of my comfort zone of just 955 Evergreen with just everybody else that was going nowhere. It just broadened my horizons and allowed me to see the world in a different way. And it gave me the discipline and structure that I needed. So, and then we're probably gonna wrap it up in a little bit.
It's really simple. Routines are important for. If you don't have any routines for them, they're going to fail. If you're not teaching them this war out here, those kids are going to get destroyed, and that's what's happening to our boys right now.
Right. If I didn't get into one of the top 3 specialized high schools in New York, I was just like, I don't know what to do. And I didn't. Those were my second choice. Like I was like, if I can't get into Stuyvesant, I'll go to LaGuardia. I ain't going to Brooklyn Tech, but the boarding school was my way out. It was. I was like, I have to test well on this test so I could get the scholarship, and I did. But my mother still had to work to keep me in that school because I didn't get a completely 100% scholarship. So it required mama's sacrifice. My mother had to reorient her life because she had to drive me down to Richmond, Virginia, 6 hours. Drop me off, get me it was like going to college early. It was just a very easy transition. Everybody goes to boarding school. It's not because they have behavior problems. In fact, most boarding schools don't want you if you have behavior problems. They maybe that's reform school, but most boarding schools are academically vigorous. Like it is not a game. Like your brain is going to hurt. And I was like, I just want to graduate. Like I was so behind. My 10th grade English teacher was like, I'm gonna have to give you some special help because you not going. I didn't know how to properly formulate a thesis statement. I didn't know how to even write a paragraph well, like with a topic sentence and the supporting sentences. Like it was all over the place. I struggled in history. I was like, modern European history. Like, why do I have to learn this? And that first year was hard, but I persevered, and it was because my mother had enough to know that I got to get her out the hood, and my dad, as absent as he was, had enough sense to put his foot up my behind when I got that first D in modern European history to tell me, we don't do D's. And I don't think I talked to my dad for like a year after that because I was just offended. I was like, you ain't even really been in my life. How you gonna tell me we don't do D's? But his words stuck with me because I was like, a D is bad. I'd never gotten a D in my life. But I tell all of you this to tell you that being a victim hurts. The only person you're hurting is yourself. You're not, making the white supremacist more powerful, or you're not taking any power away from him by, focusing on white supremacy. Like the inadequacies that we experience and feel in this present life, a lot of it is just sinful suffering from our bad decisions to just not having or being willing enough to be teachable to let someone teach you something that you know. Um, that's the biggest thing. We are our worst enemy, and if we get out of our own way, right? Recognize that God has gifted each of us with gifts, talents, and abilities. That I think I was talking to someone today. I was like, don't parents still tell their kids that they can be and do whatever they want? Because I'm like, where are these parents that are just telling their kids that, you just, because of white supremacy, like, you just ain't gonna be able to do it. Like, who's telling their kids that? I always thought that, especially mamas, be like, baby, you can do and be whatever you want. As long as you put your mind to it, you can do it. Like, do mamas still do that? I don't know. Anyway, don't forget something we have not talked about in a long time. You can still register to attend G3 2023, right? It is the Christian conference of the year. And you need to find yourself there. And you need to do so by saving money at my expense. So I want you to go to g3men.com, click on the events tab, register for the G3 National Conference. The theme is the sovereignty of God. And use my promo code. Y'all, I'm about to choke up out of here. Hold on. And I'm all out of water. Use my promo code G3 STP to save 30% off your registration. There is still time to register. You need to be at this conference for your own sanctification and spiritual growth. You will not regret it. If you've never been to G3 and this is your first time, I can guarantee you after the first time, you'll be like, you will register for the conference, the next biannual conference. Is it biannual? Yes, because it's every other year. You'll register for the next one while you're at this one. It's that good. So go ahead, take care of that. I can't wait to see you there. Also, don't forget, I want to thank you all for your super chats and your super thanks. And you're free to support the show in a myriad of ways. You can go to the standofthetruthpodcast.com, hit the donate button. You can also hit up the Cash App right there. You see that? And or you could just scan that right there. It'll take you straight there. And support this live stream. You can donate there like that. And y'all pray for my throat. Season already, like the pollen has already started to attack here in Georgia. One more thing I want to show you guys is if you want to get my bracelet, this one right here, to Telestai, you can scan that QR code. If you like the dress I'm wearing tonight, it is that right there. You can scan the QR code and get that one right there. And if you're like, I don't like jewelry and I don't wear dresses, but I am interested in keeping my gaze focused on Jesus, my other product of the day is the Fix Your Focus 52-week guide. Have it right here. It looks like this. I don't know if you guys can see that. And it's on sale for $17.99. And the reason why I like this resource is because it's 52 weeks of helping you to keep your eyes focused on Christ. And not just that, though. The aspect of it that I like a lot is that, you know how in New Age mysticism, you're always hearing about affirmations. And a lot of these affirmations that they have people saying are just unbiblical. I'm not against affirmations. My issue is, what is the object? What are you affirming? And who's the object of the affirmation? I like this one because every affirmation in this book through the 52 weeks are gospel-centered affirmations. So, for example, for week 1, your affirmation is, the Lord is my God. He teaches and leads me by his spirit. It also gives you a weekly checklist of things to do to not only keep your life organized, but to keep you focused on Christ by planning ahead who you're praying for, when you're going to pray, and reading your Bible, making notes of your top 3 priorities for the week to stay on track, any to-dos and count. Like, it's just scripture meditation. it's just the bomb. It is an amazing resource. So hope you grab this and get it. And when you get your Tetelestai bracelet, you'll also get this little card that comes with it, right? And it tells you that this was the sixth last word of Jesus at his crucifixion that he uttered moments before his death on the cross. It says, we could write this word 10,000 more times, right? But it will still not scratch the surface of all of its intensity. It is finished. The will of God was perfected. Christ became the propitiation for our sins, the sacrificial lamb. In this phrase, tetelestai, is Christ proclaiming the fullness of accomplishment for the will of the Father and the fulfillment of prophecy in accordance with his physical suffering unto death. During the first century AD, this word was often found on receipts to indicate that payment has been paid in full, meaning there's nothing else owed, there's nothing else needed. It is finished. The meaning is clear and beautiful. Christ's blood has bought us, and we are paid for in full. That is what I hope you remember if you purchase this bracelet and people see it on your wrist or they ask you what it is, that it'll stimulate you and lead you into a gospel-centered conversation. So, love you guys with the love of the Lord. We're going to go out with our final commercial of the evening, and it's going to be amazing. So, you guys take care. Let me first get all these graphics off the screen because it's a lot. And you guys take care.
God is sovereign over everything. He is sovereign over the entire universe. He is sovereign over nature. He literally has created everything that exists out of nothing.
It is the doctrine of sovereign election that empowers and ignites missions, and it is the doctrine of sovereign election that guarantees the success of missions around the world.
We will not build the church according to the changing whims of an ungodly culture. We will change that ungodly culture by the power of the immutable gospel.
All I have is God wrapped himself in flesh, died on a cross, nailed my sin thereto, was placed in the grave, rose again on the third day, ascended to the right hand of the Father, and is there making intercession for me until such time as my salvation is completed and he takes me home.
The more they see, the more they will love him. Stop giving them all this silly fodder and life principles and lay before them. Live your life in solitude, crying out to God. Live your life on your knees. Live your life with your Bibles torn asunder. Live your life for the people of God to be able to present to them the beauty of what he is, the glory of his cross.
There is no such thing as Mother Nature. God rules and reigns over everything. There's not a leaf that falls from a tree that God did not call it to fall at that very moment. God is in control of every single thing, meticulously ruling over the entire universe. Join us for the 2023 G3 National Conference on the Sovereignty of God.